Hello, it's Mr. Mola for lesson 9-4, the 3 different ways to find slope. So the first way is going to be review, and the next 2 ways are going to be something new. So let's review the 4 kinds of slope that we can get. So remember, we're reading slope left to right, so we can have a positive slope. So this is going up from the left side to the right side. We can have a negative slope going down from the left side to the right side. We can have zero slope, or we can have an undefined slope. Remember, when we have our graph, we're really just calculating the rise over the run. So how much it's going to go up versus how much it's going to go up or down versus how much it's going to go left or right. So if we're talking about this one, this is going up 1, 2, 3 spots. So from 1 to 4, it's going up 3 spots. And then it's going right 2 spots. So our slope would be 3 over 2. Here's another one. So from, looks like 1 to 3, so I'm going up 2 spots, which would be up 2, and then right 1, 2, 3 spots, so right 3, so 2 over 3. You can see this one's going to be a 0 slope, this one's going to be an undefined slope, this one is going up 2, and also to the right 3 it looks like. This one looks like it's going down, it looks like it's going down 1, and to the right 4, so negative 1 over 4. And then we have our second way to find slope is using this formula. So it's y equals mx plus b. We kind of talked about this when we graphed a little bit, but not so much just finding the slope. So we're always going to have a formula. We're always going to have y equals some number times x and then plus or minus another number. So most likely it's going to look like something like this. So y equals 4x plus 6. So same thing as that other formula. So y equals mx plus b. So m is the 4 takes place of the m, and the b takes place of, or the 6 takes place of the b. When we have it like this, very simple. Once it says y equals, the slope is always the number next to the x. So in this case, it's a 4. So my slope is 4. In this case, it's a 1/3. So my slope is 1/3. Okay, it's as simple as that. Once this says y equals, it's always that number next to the x. We got a few more examples. Okay, so y equals negative x plus 3/4. Remember what number is really in front of that negative sign? It is a 1, so my slope is negative 1. Okay, this one gets a little more complicated. This is kind of has what we did last chapter, so we need to get the x by itself. I mean the y by itself. So I have plus 4x, I would need to minus 4x from both sides. So then I am left with 2y equals 4x, or a negative 4x plus 16. Oops, that's a weird x. Okay, and then I have 2y. Remember, my formula didn't say 2y. It said y equals. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And that means I divide both of this side by 2. Okay, and then I'm going to look. A negative 4 divided by a positive 2 is a negative 2. So that means my slope is going to be a negative 2. Same thing over here. I would need to subtract 2x from both sides, and then that's my y equals a negative 2x. So that means my slope is a negative 2. Here, no different. It says y equals already. It's just in a little bit different order. Doesn't matter. My slope, that number still in front of the x, is a 5. So my answer is 5. Alright, and then the last way to find slope is subtracting. Okay, so just like if we went back at our graphs, I could figure out the slope of some of these numbers. You heard Mr. Mola talking. This is going from negative 2, or this is going from 1 to 3. So I would subtract it, because 3 minus 1 is 2. That tells me the top part of my slope. That tells me my rise. So sometimes they're going to give us numbers instead of giving us a graph. And so then we would subtract those 2 numbers. So if we have something here, so subtracting our 2 y's, this is what this means. And remember, when I have coordinates like this is my x's right here, the first one. and these are my y's. So if I subtract my two y's, what do I get? Well, I have a 4 minus a 2, which gives me a 2. And I have a negative 1 minus 5, which gives me a negative 6. And then I can simplify that to negative 1/3. So then my slope for that problem would be a negative 1/3. Okay, same thing over here. So here's even an example done for me. So I have 7, and I have a 1 as my two y's. 7 minus 1 is 6. And then I have a 5 and a negative 2 as my x's. So 5 minus a negative 2 is 7. It's always a minus sign here. Doesn't matter if our numbers are positive or our numbers are negative. If it's negative, then it's going to be minus a negative, which is going to turn into a plus sign. But it's always a minus sign here in the middle. All right, we got one more page of examples. So if I have a 4 minus a negative 4, that's going to give me a positive 8. And 2 minus a negative 2 is going to give me a positive 4. So 8 over 4 is the same thing as 2 over 1, which is the same thing as 2. All right, I'm subtracting here. I have 0 minus 2, which is negative 2. And I have negative 2 minus 0, which is negative 2. So negative 2 over negative 2 is 1. Here I have negative 2 minus 4, which is negative 6. And 4 minus 3 is 1. So I have negative 6 over 1, which is the same thing as negative 6. Here I have 1 minus 6. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. And negative 1 minus 0, which is negative 1. Negative 1 over negative 5 is a positive 5, dividing two negatives. Two more left. I have 9 minus 9, which is 0. And then 3 minus 1, which is 2. So that's going to be a 0 slope because it's 0 divided by 2. Anything divided by, or 0 divided by anything is 0. I have 1 minus a negative 7, which is 8. And 5 minus 5, which is 0. And if you put that in your calculator or you ask Siri why you can't divide by 0, it is going to be undefined. There's no answer for it. It's not possible.